Okay, looks like everything's showing up good on my screen, so I'm gonna go ahead and start. I'm gonna play some Forza. I'm not gonna talk too much. Just gonna sit back and listen to this guy called Dan Pina. He's pretty funny, motivational speaker type. But let's go ahead and start that.
Self-esteem is the key to high performance. It's not work if you love what you're doing.
But does that look like your group? No.
If you left it to engineers, no car would ever come off the assembly line. Focus on the few, not the many.
And most of you don't believe passionately in what you're doing.
What gets measured gets accomplished.
You just gotta do it.
But I'm high on life. I always have been high on life. When they look in the mirror, Brian, they don't like what they see.
He's a Hispanic-American businessman, entrepreneur, mentor, and business coach. He's the author of the popular book, Your First 100 Million. He's known for his 7-day Castle seminar on Quantum Leap Advantage. He's Dan Pena, and here are his top 10 rules for success.
I don't know how to pronounce these names.
And to practice success before you're successful. One of the stories, and I know Peter remembers it, before I had any money, I used to go to the Rolls Royce dealers and sit in the cars and smell the leather, touch the leather, okay? In these days, this is 40 years ago, I went to $1 million houses, and my wife and I would walk through the house, and they'd say, when are your parents getting here, kids? No, we are the buyers, okay? And to get used to it, and that's the reason the castle is so effective. And the reason I stopped giving outside seminars is that the success rate is almost 5 times greater going to the castle, having a butler wait on you, dressing, thinking more of yourself, because self-esteem is the key to high performance. If we feel good about ourselves and we hang around with people, the average of the 5 people that we are mostly around is who we turn out to be. Follow what you're passionate about, what you love. It's not work if you love what you're doing. Okay. Most people, when I say they're living quiet lives of desperation, is because they're involved in a business or a job that they don't enjoy, they're not passionate about. Okay. So if you found something that you're passionate about, that it doesn't matter if you work 3 hours a day or 13 hours a day, that's where you start. And most people aren't there. Most people have to find that.
But does that look like your group? No. It doesn't look like your group. I mean, in no way, shape, manner, or form. You know, maybe if we had a bunch of bunny rabbits running there, it's unbelievable. But again, you are who you hang around with. And as Oprah Winfrey says, and which I talk about a lot, is that you want people with a like mind and that are better than you, smarter than you, more intelligent than you to get on your bus. And don't be so concerned about what you're going to do with those people, but you want to, the joint brain is, there's nothing the joint brain, collective brain, or brains, can't overcome. And I give the example of the atomic bomb, the Manhattan Project, and they were put together and they were told, we need to develop a weapon of mass destruction, which they didn't call it that back in those days, in the middle 40s, to end the war in the Pacific. And they did. They didn't know if it would implode or explode, but they did. But if your team doesn't look like that, then you should, I won't say you should give serious thought, you should just change.
Perfection equals paralysis.
Okay, so you can never make a perfect decision.
No. If you left it to engineers, no car would ever come off the assembly line. No car would ever come off the assembly line. And I've been in business with enough engineers, I can attest to that with my hand on my heart. They'd still be trying to make it better. And the internet business is very much the same. The internet kids want to test and test and test, and they want the landing page to be this, and roll it out. The great thing about the internet is your results are instantaneous.
And you can make changes instantaneously.
Correct. I mean, if something that I'm overseeing at Concord level, 60,000 feet, doesn't work in 2 days, can it? Forget about it, move on. And today at our meeting, now the young kids are, we ran it 3 days, sir, and we closed it down. And they are thinking I'm going to ask why. I said, no, that's fine. Next, because without them making mistakes and without them being allowed to make the decision, they never get any better. And 95% of the time, I know probably better than they do, but we're never going to be able to know everything or have them know everything unless, and they will never know everything, but unless they make some mistakes, and get comfortable with making mistakes.
Clausewitz, the famous Prussian general, said, focus on the few, not the many. And the most common error that I see in reasonably successful businessmen and women are that they try to do too many things. And focus on the few, not the many.
Most of you lack the skills to sell your vision with clarity because you don't practice, and the travesty really is because you don't believe enough in it. You just don't. And if what you're trying to finance isn't your dream, isn't your vision, I mean, the banker or the person on the other side of the table sees through it clearly. They know just absolutely, definitively. Because at the end of the day, they want to feel down deep inside, warm and fuzzy, that this person or this person will do whatever it takes to pay me back the money. And if you don't believe with all your heart, then you're not going to, go that extra mile. That's what they want to believe. And most of you don't believe passionately in what you're doing. And that's why it's very easy for me to say you ought to turn the damn key. Just walk away. And look for something that you can passionately believe in. Is that so difficult?
Another one of my great influencers is Toyota automobile. He wrote a book called The Toyota Way, and he said, constant supervised stress. Constant supervised, actually I think he used the word organized stress.
What does that mean?
It means keep people accountable,
Right.
just like Peter Sage says.
Right.
Keep people, what gets measured gets accomplished. And I have signs in most of the business I'm involved in. When you walk in the door, there's a big thing about as big as that painting there. What gets measured gets accomplished.
Right.
Without measurement, you're just fooling yourself.
Okay, the question is, do you, the person asking the question, have what it takes to do what Dan did? You never know. But no one does know initially, up front. You have to try. You have to swing at the plate. You have to, take risk. You have to be willing to sacrifice. You have to be willing to make commitment. And just do it. I keep saying that. I mean, it's simplistic. It sounds like I'm, I haven't thought the question to, but that's not the point at all. The point is, after 21 years of coaching and after almost 45 years of doing this myself and being a high-performance person in 6 decades, I realize you just got to do it.
But I'm high on life.
Okay.
Okay, and that became popular in the 60s when everybody was doing LSD.
Right.
Okay, but I'm high on life. I always have been high on life. I've got a lot of energy. I have the same energy I have today as I did 30 years ago.
So you're naturally a positive person.
I'm 100% positive. The most contagious thing in the world isn't a positive action, it's a negative thought. A negative thought. And because that can grow geometrically and kill deals, kill even companies for that matter. And so, but I'm extremely positive.
And I tell people, one of the things that you need to do, and I'm stealing my thunder, is you need to be more selfish.
Me?
You, as an individual.
Jesus, all right. I'm not being selfish enough.
No, nobody is.
Okay.
Because you can't love somebody or love what you're doing unless you love yourself. And most people, and I've got a whole section on this, when they look in the mirror, Brian, they don't like what they see. I'm bald, I'm too wrinkled, my tits are too small, my tits are too big, my ass is too, I've got, what do you call it when you get acne, I've got this, my shoulders aren't wide enough, but many people don't like what they see when they look in the mirror.
So you get them to be more selfish and to like themselves more.
Yeah.
All
No,
right.
love. We don't want like. Love.
Love.
Thank you so much for watching. I made this video because Numan Rashid asked me to. So if there's a famous entrepreneur that you want me to profile next, leave it in the comments below and I'll see what I can do. I'd also love to know which of Dan Pena's top 10 rules hit you the hardest. Leave it in the comments and I'll join in the discussion. Thank you so much for watching. Continue to believe and I'll see you soon.
This is what I'm training you to be like. The 4 horsemen of the motherfucking apocalypse. Adolf Hitler might be the highest performance guy that ever was born on the planet. When you decide that you really want to invoke permanent change, you start playing to win all the time.
Need motivation?
Watch the Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 to 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9.
Rule number 2, know what you're passionate about.
Follow what you're passionate about, what you love. If it's not work if you love what you're doing. Okay. Most people, when I say they're living quiet lives of desperation, is because they're involved in a business or a job that they don't enjoy. They're not passionate about. Okay. So if you found something that you're passionate about, that it doesn't matter if you work 3 hours a day or 13 hours a day. That's where you start. And most people aren't there. Most people have to find that.
Rule number 3, surround yourself with great people.
But does that look like your group? No, it doesn't look like your group. I mean, in no way, shape, manner, or form. You know, maybe if we had a bunch of bunny rabbits running there, it's unbelievable. But again, you are who you hang around with, you know? And as Oprah Winfrey says, and which I talk about a lot, is that you want people with a like mind and that are better than you, smarter than you, more intelligent than you to get on your bus. And don't be so concerned about what you're going to do with those people, but you want to, you know, the joint brain is, you know, there's nothing the joint brain, collective brain, or brains can't overcome. And I give the example of the atomic bomb, the Manhattan Project.
People just fucking hear
and they were
this.
put together, and they were told, we need to
Want to feel down deep inside, warm and fuzzy, that this person or this person will do it.
A bank account and an emotional bank account. And where we all fail, myself included, is emotionally. I get afraid, you know, but it's not what happens to you in life, it's how you react to what happens to you in life. But I just push through. I'm so used to success now, you know, not blowing smoke up my own ass. I'm so used to it now. It's my fact pattern. I mean, nobody's interested in the failures I've had last year. I had tried 22 different things that failed, but I tried 2 that were big successes. So nobody's interested in I think we'll try this and it didn't work. I think I'll try this and it didn't work.
Rule number 14, find a mentor.
The system that I've seen that works, which is very much contrary to all the other success guys, which I don't consider myself, is the mentorship, where somebody mentors you. So you find somebody that is where you want to be and has accomplished all this, either man or woman, and then you find them and you come to them with your dream and your passion, and assuming the chemistry is right, and it's not always right, the rest is history. It's like the Tyson-Gus D'Amato deal, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, Tyson by accident, with the greatest respect, Mike, found that guy when he was 13, 14 years old, when he was, you know, doing all kind of ugly things. Not dissimilar to myself, about the same age.
Yeah.
And Gus mentored him and tutored him. And then and you know, Mike will admit, I guess, I don't know, I've never talked to him about, you know, when Gus died and all that stuff happened, he made some he made some very poor decisions. So you got to find that person. And you don't just, you're not just going to find them, you know, walking down the street, on the high street. I mean, you have to make a concerted effort to find somebody that you look up to, and normally that person is several years older than you, but they're successful in what you want to do.
Rule number 15, stop wasting time.
If you had to keep track of 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, what you do, you would be shocked, astounded, overwhelmed, or as they say in Britain, gobsmacked, how much time you waste. And I make them keep track of every minute of the day. Every minute of the day. And it's not easy. It's not easy. When you find out, I have people that have come through the seminar that spend 20 hours a day walking in the fresh air and meditating. 20 hours a week, excuse me, not a day. 20 hours a week. and they don't get anything done. And they don't feel relaxed.
Rule number 16, fulfill your potential.
What takes you off? What really sets you off right now?
You mean irritates me?
Irritates you, pisses you off, yeah.
Man's greatest burden is unfulfilled potential. Man's greatest burden is unfulfilled potential. And I say, when I look at the audiences, and I know that maybe only 1% are going to achieve their potential. Not fully, I still haven't fulfilled my potential, but unfulfilled potential is man's greatest burden. And it breaks my heart, because I know what you kids are capable of. I know, I've had kids with 80 IQ to 180 IQ that I mentored that have done big deals. Actually, the 80 IQ did better than the 180 IQ, okay? And I know what they're capable of. And I know how 10 million or 100 million or whatever the number is changes lives. And and then all of a sudden, you know, you believe that you can walk on water. You believe that you can take a loaf of bread and feed however many he was supposed to have fed and make water into wine. And when you believe it, see, the true test of a leader is when you've trained other people to be leaders. It's in you, kids. I mean, you can do it. If you want it bad enough and you stay focused and you're willing to maintain that commitment.
Rule number 17, work hard.
My dad was a workaholic. He was a cop, but he was a workaholic. When he retired from the LAPD after 28 years, he had 700 plus days. They wrote him a check for it, and he never took a day off. 728 years. He never took a day off. He was always at work. So I saw that. And I saw, you know, and although then he went to the CIA and he became a college professor, but I saw him work hard. And and I aspired to follow my dad in my dad's footsteps as far as that was concerned. I turned 16, which is when you can get a permit to work legally, and I got a job as a box boy, which they don't have anymore, where you put groceries in the ladies' bags and you help them out to the car. The first month that I worked was August 1961, when I turned 16. So my birthday's the 10th, so I worked 21 days. My paycheck for that, because I just happened to look it up, was $241. So I worked about 240 hours in 20 days. You got a headache, you don't want to work, I'll take your shift. You want to go to the beach, I'll take your shift, okay? So my first first 20 days I worked, I was averaging 10, 12 hours a day when I'm 16 years old. I realized, as Elon Musk recently said, if you work 80 hours a week and another guy works only 40 hours a week, unless something's wrong with you, you're going to get twice as much done. I discovered that.
Rule number 18, take action.
Prayer is great. Contemplation is great. But if you don't take action, 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 all the rest is wasted. And what the kids today have trouble with, they connote reading a book to taking action. And I'm not saying you shouldn't read, because I've read the classics, I've read Shakespeare and all that stuff, but it's not taking action. Taking action is pulling the trigger, going out and making something happen, and even if you fail.
Rule number 19, have high expectations.
I'm 15 pounds overweight, my doctor said, and he said, you know, if you wanted to be in perfect health, which everything else is perfect, my health, I'm well, you should lose 15 pounds. And I said, I'd have to give up 3 or 4 martinis and a bottle of wine every night. I'm not willing to do that. I know what it takes, and I know what I'd have to do. I used to run marathons. I ran the Boston Marathon. And I know what it took to train. And I'm not, you know, I don't run like that anymore. I Stairmaster. But I mean, we all know how to lose weight. We all know how to get physically fit. We all know how to build our businesses. I can go to the Yellow Pages today and pick out any business that's in this room, and I can find somebody that's beating your brains out. I don't care what you do. And as some of you have heard me say, but I'm going to say it again because it's important. For this example, again, we all have 100 IQ. For some of you, I'm giving you some. For some, I'm taking away some. We all know nobody can have 10 times our IQ. Well, then why the hell do people make 10 times more than we do, 1,000 times more than we do? Why? Because they think and dream bigger than we do. High performance people have high expectations, not average expectations.
Rule number 20, don't overthink things.
Matthew and I were discussing some of the things about why you discounted on a subconscious level some of the things that happened, because absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. And he said something very profound. For an Australian, this is heavy duty. But he said, I decided to do it, even though it was stupid, I decided to do it. Stupid meaning follow the process to an intellectually bright guy who's an engineer. And see, you won't. You see, you'll figure out a better way. And he followed the stupid process that works and has been working for 45 years, 20 some years before when I was doing it, and 22 years since I've been coaching. And he called it, he wasn't trying to be insulting or anything. He says, I just decided to follow the, how did you say it?
Instead of trying to be smart, I would just try to be stupid, shut that part off of my brain, and just do it.
And what happened? He did it. And that's why it's hard for the YouTubers and all the other, because you can't dumb down. You will not believe that it's easy. You can't, you won't. But he put it very succinctly. He just dumbed down and shut off that part of his brain and just follow the steps. You don't need case studies. You have a template, you have a script that a monkey can read. That Alex wants a case study because he wants to know the shit behind it, because he's stupid. And that's why he's poor. You don't need any case studies. How many times do I have to say? You have the script. I said, don't change a word on the script. Not a comma. If it's got misspelled words, send it out misspelled. The last thing you need is a case study. This is why you're poor. This is why the suckers watching this on YouTube are so poor.
Rule number 21, keep on going.
When I was a kid, they said I was retarded. They stood me in the corner with a dunce cap. People know what a dunce cap is? Okay. And if I turned around, they put me in a closet. Kept me there 4, 5, 6 hours. I urinated on myself. I shit my pants until my parents came to pick me up. Now just imagine if that had happened to you. But I used it. It's not what happens to you in life, it's how you interpret what happens. I made it make me stronger, tougher, smarter. Most people would just collapse. When I played football, American football, Coach Roy J., may he roast in hell wherever he is, he says, Pina, you're so slow you ought to wear the other team's jersey. Do you understand what that means? You're such a poor athlete, put the other team's jersey on. Good for us. But I kept on going, hitting that line. Boom. When they have the tackling exercise, one guy in the middle, and everybody just, I was that guy every day. If that had happened to you, I know what you do. Some of you would have committed suicide. That it made me stronger. Yes, I'm 6'1", 225, a twisted steel and panther piss at age 73. But I endured all this stuff.
Rule number 22, don't care what others think.
The rumor is that I'm following in the footsteps of two of my mentors. For those of you that aren't bright enough to know that that's Lenin and Stalin and me. There's some truth to that, because I believe in the old Russian way. I'm not interested in your opinion. That's the last thing I need is your opinion. Because if your opinion was so good, you wouldn't be here. And if you look at my whole wall of influencers, they're both on there amongst some other people like the devil and a few others, Hitler.
Rule number 23, don't be an expert.
At least 2 or 3 of you have asked me either privately, on one-on-one, or during the breaks. You know, I was thinking about going into such and such, but I don't really know anything about such and such. How can I do it? Remember, I knew not enough about the oil and gas business to fill the top of that pen. I knew less than. And by anybody's imagination or statistics or benchmarks, I was super successful. And as I said earlier a couple days ago, now, unfortunately, I know a lot about the industry. And I haven't made any money in it in a number of years. I wonder, I haven't. Because now I look at the deals, no, I mean, the ratio between gas and oil and this and that and supply and demand. So now I'm an expert. I've made a dime in it in 10, 15 years. Because now I look at it the wrong way. I look at it, even though I don't do spreadsheets, I look at it in a spreadsheet manner. And you can always come up with a reason why not to do something. And by God, I've come up with a number of them in oil and gas.
Rule number 24, be tough as nails.
Mr. Carnegie was a hard bastard. Vanderbilt was a hard bastard. Henry Ford I was a hard bastard. Rockefeller was a hard bastard. Steve Jobs was a ruthless hard bastard. As Apple CEO Cook regularly begins sending emails at 4:30 in the morning on Sunday, he's a hard bastard. Why are all these guys that changed the world got one thing in common? They're tough as nails, ruthless, take no prisoners. And then we got you, a stiff drink and a good kill most people in this room. I'm ashamed to say. In fact, forget the stiff drink, just a good. My proceeds from PayPal acquisition were 180 million, blah, 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 blah. Then I had to borrow money for rent. These guys, myself included, are all in. If they believe in what they're doing, they put all their money at risk, which I have several times, not in recent years. SpaceX worker reveals a brutal company motto helped him survive all-nighters working for Elon Musk. Notorious workaholic Elon Musk is so tied to his office that he's been known to sleep on the floor. I slept on the floor. Ford slept on the floor. Jobs slept on the floor. Gates slept on the floor. Success leaves clues, you weenies. I still work 50, 60 hours a week, and I haven't had to work in 35 years.
Rule number 25, just do it.
Best advice I ever got from Mr. Grazos, do it. He didn't say just do it. He didn't swear. And the best advice I've ever given anybody is just do it. We take too much time procrastinating. And because we're afraid of failure, and fear is false expectations appearing real. We're worried about what other people think. We're trying to fit in. And I can go through a whole litany of bullshit. Now, it's not bullshit because it's not true. Litany of stuff why you are where you are because you just didn't do it. You didn't want to make a mistake. You got a mortgage. You got 2 ex-wives. You got a 15-year-old daughter who's pregnant. Your dad's got Alzheimer's. Your mother's got emphysema, spitting up blood. I can go on and on and on and on. But the bottom line is, if you had 15 years ago you had just done it, 10 years ago you had just done it, 5 years ago if you had just done it, 6 months ago if you just done it, you probably wouldn't be in the position you're in now. So I'm saying no matter what your age is, it's still time to just go out and do it. Just go out and do it.
Rule number 26, be a warrior.
This is what I'm training you to be like. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Warriors, not whiners, not warriors. You think Donald Trump's a whiner? You think he worries and gives up what you think of him? You think Elon Musk gives up what you think of him? You think the late Steve Jobs gave a what you thought of him? You think Bill Gates gives a and I can go on and on and on. The only one that gives a is you, and you, and you, and the morons on YouTube.
Rule number 27, leave your comfort zone.
Most of you have not attained material wealth because you've stayed in your comfort zone. Every family has an aunt, an uncle, a grandfather that went out and lost a family fortune, right? Uncle Harry, crazy Harry, he lost 20,000, 50,000, a million, whatever the number is. Well, that resonates in you, in your brain, your little pea brain. And then you hear another one. Your roommate in college, he's got an Uncle Harry. So pretty soon, the only input that you have is people losing their family fortune. That affects you, i.e., you then live within your comfort zone, i.e., you don't take risks. A turtle can only move forward when it sticks its head and its feet out. And when it sticks its head and its feet out, it's most vulnerable, right? Biggest risk. Most of you have lived a bubble-wrapped life. Most of you have been risk-averse. Risk-averse to the extent there are people beyond my comprehension that get all the way through high school with never been screamed at, never been slapped, never been in a fight, never been reprimanded by their parents. And then look at them. Snowflakes. Snowflakes meaning they melt under pressure. And when I say the world is through, look at you. The reason why the aliens haven't come down and taken us over, why? Why? Are they going to learn anything? No.
Rule number 28, love what you do.
Do you think anyone in this room could go and make hundreds of millions of dollars in 2 months?
It is simple. Can everybody in this room do it? No. Because everybody in this room is not willing to make the sacrifices. I don't know how to do it 4-hour work week, which came up a little earlier. I don't know, and I know Ferris. And if you believe the 4-hour work week, I've got a bridge to sell you in New York. I mean, one of the comments from the seminar that just ended, from the 18, 20 kids, all of which were about half my age. We had a couple of old gits in their 40s, but most of them were less than 30. They commented at breakfast the last day, which was Saturday or Sunday. They said, how can he still be so fired up running on 200% of all its cylinders when he's been on his feet 15 hours a day for 6, 7, 8 days, and we've been sitting on our arses, and we're tired and he's not. You know why? Because and if you don't find something that you love what you do, don't bother. Because if you don't have a passion for what you do and you love, it gets old. I say this stretching a little. It's like a significant other that you've been around too much. You know what I mean? Everybody in this room can relate to that, I think. Okay? Well, if you're not passionate about what you do in life, it gets old, and then it becomes work. And as soon as it becomes work, you're finished. The reason why I'm fired up at the end of a 6-7 day week of 15, 18 hours a day is because I'm passionate about pulling you sorry asses across the goal line. Because that's my goal in life now, to pull as many of the sorry individuals on the planet across the goal line as I can before they put dirt on me.
Rule number 29, turn your life into a process.
You want to take the easy way out because you think life is a journey. That is horseshit. Life's a journey if you're a moron and you're retarded. That's why, you know, that's what you've done with the life up heretofore. It's been a journey. And how good is the journey? You tell me. Wouldn't you have rather, when the first time you went out with somebody that you thought you were in love with, thought is the operative word, wouldn't you have lied to have a template? Oh, let's follow this process instead of, because that is a journey. And all the mistakes you made, and raising this little head for kids you got, instead of having this book. Life doesn't have to be a journey. It's a journey for morons.
Damn it, dude.
You think life is a journey for the Trump kids? It's a process, the same process his daddy raised him by. Same for me. Life ain't a journey if you're my kid. It's a goddamn process. So you tell me if you're results orientated at all, who's better off? The journey or the process?
Rule number 30, seize the opportunity.
Right now, on November 8th, I announced that when Mr. Trump, whether you love him or hate him, this was the beginning of the greatest transformation of wealth the world has ever seen since World War II. Now, what are you going to tell your kids and your grandkids 25 years from now when they say, gee, Daddy, gee, Grandpa, what were you doing other than having your thumb up your big ass during the greatest transformation of wealth in the history of the world? What were you doing? Oh, nothing. That's what most of you will tell them, your grandchildren and your children. It's never going to get any better than this, kids. This is the, as I said on YouTube, the eye of the perfect storm. This is it. I never thought I'd live to see it again. This is going to make the 80s look like a nursery rhyme, which I praise Allah, praise Buddha, praise God. I participated in slashing and raping everybody in the 80s, legally. This is going to make that look like a nursery rhyme. And what are you going to tell your kids? Oh, I had a spreadsheet. I had to think about it. I had to read another book on M&A, you morons.
Rule number 31, surround yourself with greatness.
The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the man he surrounds himself with. Now, if I were going to judge you or you or you by the guys you hang with, the guys you chill with, I think you're a retard.
Goddamn.
You hang and chill. Bill Gates does not chill. He does not go to the Super Bowl. Steve Jobs didn't hang. Why do you?
21st place. That sucks.
You hang out with monkeys. A lot of resemblance here. You know, you become a circus. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Most of you would be embarrassed to tell me who your 5 closest buddies are.
Rule number 32, minimize your regrets.
I didn't know I had this in common with the founder of Amazon, but he's in the regret minimization business. He has modeled his lifestyle. What will I regret when I'm 80? Now that he's 50-something, he says now it's going to be 90, same as me.
So at least
but I've had 80 for a long, long time. And there's still some things. I have 3 regrets.
All right. Well, check out Dan Pena. He's fucking pretty funny. I like listening to a lot of his videos. But this is all I'm doing for tonight, y'all. I'm tired. So, that's it.